Now, let's talk about gradable adjectives. The word gradable means something that you can grade, something that you can measure. In other words, it is measurable. So some adjectives can be classified as gradable adjectives, which means you can measure the quality of that noun this adjective is describing. And on the other hand, you might have what we call non-gradable adjectives. And these are the adjectives that you cannot measure the quality of. For example, the word dead. The word dead is an adjective. Can you measure like how dead this person is? You can't, because this person is either dead or alive. You can't say, this person is very dead, or this person is half dead. It doesn't work. When you say, this is impossible, you can't say, this is a little bit impossible. It doesn't work. So we have some adjectives that are gradable, and we have adjectives that are non-gradable. Now, let me tell you something just to make your life easier. Most of the adjectives that you know are gradable, meaning you can measure the quality of this adjective. When you say rich, poor, beautiful, funny, tall, short. But we have to talk about these types of adjectives because this is going to help us understand the following videos when we talk about adverbs. Because sometimes we use adverbs with adjectives. And based on whether the adjective is gradable or non-gradable, this is going to tell us whether we can use some adverbs or not. So let me give you some examples. When you say beautiful, you can say, this lady is beautiful. You can also say, this lady is very beautiful. Or you can say, this lady is, kind of beautiful. Yeah. Like you can measure how beautiful she is. But when you say, this lady is gorgeous, you can't measure it. Why? Because gorgeous means very beautiful. So it's already very beautiful. You can't say, this lady is very gorgeous. This is wrong. So gorgeous is non-gradable. You can't add very or so or to before it. Dirty. Your room could be dirty, or your room could be a little bit dirty. Your room could be very dirty, or your room could be filthy, which means it is very, very, very dirty. Yeah? But you can't say this room is very filthy, because filthy is like the upper limit. That's it. Like, cannot get filthier than this. This is the maximum the room can get. Yeah. If you want to say clean, you can have a very clean room, or you can have a spotless room. Spotless. Spotless means like very clean. You can't say very spotless. So spotless is a non-gradable adjective. Angry. I might be angry at you because you might be playing with your phone while you're watching this video. And if you keep playing with your phone, I'm going to be furious, like Fast and Furious, like you're driving me crazy and you're still playing with your phone, like I'm talking to a brick wall. But I can't be very furious. I can't be very furious. I can be furious. You might watch my videos and you might think they are funny, or you might think they are a little bit funny, or they are kind of funny. I think they are hilarious, but you can't think that they are very hilarious. It doesn't happen. So hilarious is the maximum. They cannot be very hilarious or so hilarious or too hilarious. Non-gradable. At the end of recording this video, I might be tired, or I might be a little bit tired, or I might be very tired, but looks like I'm going to be exhausted. Exhausted means very, very, very tired, because I talk all the time and I don't drink water, so I get exhausted. So let me drink some water so I do not become exhausted. You might have a big heart, or a very big heart, or a pretty big heart, but I have an enormous heart. I have a gigantic heart. I have a titanic heart. By the way, titanic means very big if you don't know. Or a monumental heart. But you can't say, for example, I have a very enormous heart. It doesn't work. You never say enormous heart anyway. I'm just giving you an example. But you can say very big. You can say so big. You can say too big. But you never use these adverbs with the adjective enormous. It can be very cold outside. It can be so cold. It can be a little bit cold. But when it's freezing, it is freezing. You can't say it is very freezing. So what I want to tell you here is that some adjectives can be gradable, some adjectives can be non-gradable. And this is very important. Why? Because when we cover adverbs, we have what we call intensifiers. And these are some adverbs that we use with some adjectives. So some adjectives can come with some adverbs, but some other adjectives cannot come with some other adverbs. Like when you say so or very, these ones are adverbs if you don't know. So you can say so beautiful, but you cannot say so filthy, for example. There are some other adverbs that come with non-gradable adjectives, like, for example, really, absolutely, completely. But we're going to be covering this when we talk about adverbs. So what I want you to know now is that we have some gradable adjectives and we have some non-gradable adjectives. But the question is, how can you know which adjective is gradable and which adjective is non-gradable? That's a really good question. You have to memorize them. They come by experience. There is no specific rule that tells you which adjective is gradable and which adjective is non-gradable. Even in the dictionary, it's not very clear. It doesn't tell you all the time that this adjective is gradable or this adjective is non-gradable. It does not clearly state this. So when you look them up in the dictionary, if the meaning means very and then something, in most of the cases, this means it's a non-gradable adjective. In most of the cases. This is also important because when you want to compare two things, sometimes we use what we call the comparative form of the adjective. Like you can say, this girl is more beautiful than that girl. But you never say, this girl is more gorgeous than that girl. Because more means you're measuring something. This doesn't work with non-gradable adjectives, okay? Because this happens when you write essays. A lot of students might be using more or less with non-gradable adjectives. So you have to be careful.